Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be going over the Air Canada interview flight attendant process. In case you're wondering, I am wearing kind of like a blanket sweater. It is called a Huggle. It is so comfortable, and yes, I am very hot in it right now. I was hired as a flight attendant with Air Canada about a year ago, so I'm just going to go over a couple of things such as the timeline for my application process, such as from when I first applied all the way up until when training started, kind of like what I did with my last video with Westjet Encore. So I'm going to start off by saying that I never actually planned to apply to Air Canada to be a flight attendant. I was already a flight attendant with Westjet Encore, and I did not plan to go through a whole initial training all over again because I was already set up to go to school, and I was set up to go into a massage therapy program which would have started in January 2019. So this is about October when all this stuff started to happen. I was really bored one night. It was like midnight, you know, so it was midnight and I was just scrolling through Indeed jobs, just looking at what jobs were available, and I saw that Air Canada was hiring, Air Canada mainline that is, and I was like, maybe I might just like send an application, not really taking it seriously, but I just decided to send one anyways. Don't ask me why, but I do believe that things happen for a reason. So I applied, not really expecting much, and if I did hear back, I wasn't going to pursue it because I was set up to go to school in January. Like, why would I pursue something when I already had something else set up? But anyways, I sent my application. I think it was mid-October. I think it was like October 15th, October 16th, and then they sent me an email right away with a link to a video interview, and I was like, oh my gosh, well, I'm not gonna do that. I wasn't expecting this to just like progress so quickly, and it was also midnight. I didn't know what kind of video interview it would be. Like, is it a one-on-one? Is it recorded? I look like a bum. It's midnight. I'm ready to go to bed. So I decided not to do it, and I didn't plan to do it either. I was like, you know what? This is a good possibility for me, but do I really want to go through an interview process all over again? Do I really want to go through an initial training all over again? Well, we all know what ended up happening, but I did not decide to go through this. So a week goes by. I'm still working for Westjet Encore as a flight attendant because I need the money before I go to school. So a week goes by, I didn't do the video interview, and then I get a phone call, I guess while I was flying, and I had a voicemail from Air Canada, and I was like, oh my god, do I really want to pursue this? And I listened to the voicemail, and they're like, hey, just want to invite you for a phone interview. And I was like, I didn't even do the video interview. But I guess it's either or. You either do the video interview or the phone interview. I'm not sure how it works now, but I'm pretty sure that was how it worked when I was applying. So I was like, I was humming and hawing because, as I mentioned, I was already set up to go to school in January, and did I really want to go through this whole process, like language testing, training, interview, like face-to-face, like, it's just it is a hassle, but it's a lot of work, right? And if that's really what you want to do, then absolutely go for it. But as I already had plans, did I really want to expend all that energy going through with this? So I spoke with my partner, and he was like, you know what, I think it might be a good idea just to see what they want, you know, see how far you can get. And I was like, alright, fine. So I ended up calling them back. I had a phone interview. It ended up being a bilingual phone interview. Most of the interview was in English, and then some of it was in French, and this was about a week and like 2 days after I applied, so almost at the end of October at this point. And I was just hoping and praying that that French part would just count as my language testing. It didn't. I passed that part, and then they called me for a face-to-face interview, which I had to book myself. So they send you a link, and then you see what days are available, and there was only one day available in November, and it was November 3rd, and I was like, oh my god, I work that day. I think I was supposed to be on reserve, and I called in sick. I went to the interview because there was no other interviews available, so I went to it, and basically how it transcribed was a little bit different than my previous experience with Westshot Encore. So I get to the hotel where my face-to-face interview is supposed to be, and they have so many chairs set up and they're different groups. I don't really know why. I guess it was just to manage. Oh yes, that's right, because all on November 3rd was taken up by interviews, so there were half-an-hour slots. So I booked mine, I think, for like 10:30. So when I got there, there were already people from the previous slots who were in different groups. I think they put you into groups, if I remember correctly. And then you're just called from that pool when it's your time to go. So I got called, went for my face-to-face interview. I was in a big room, and there were so many interviewers at different tables, and they were all interviewing someone. So it wasn't like in a quiet room, like one-on-one. You had a whole bunch of other people being interviewed at the same time. So I start the interview, and my interviewer just asked me, run-of-the-mill behavioral questions, some scenario questions. Nothing really new. Most interviews work in this fashion. They'll ask you those kinds of questions. So did that. That was fun. And I left the room. And so I got called for this group interview. I went to kind of like a conference room and just waited there until someone else came in. And I think if I remember correctly, they gave us like a little presentation, and then we were brought into another room as a group. I think there were like 10 of us, and we all sat at this big other conference table, and they gave us scenarios, and we had to work in groups of, I think, like 3 or 4, and read through the scenario and just respond to it how we, or like point out any problems, or just work through it that way. Just a typical scenario, like nothing extravagant. It was airline related scenario, mind you. And then afterwards, I think they ask you more questions, and yeah, that was that for the group interview. So if you pass the group interview, then they send you further to book like a medical appointment, so like a drug test, that kind of thing. I can't really remember, to be honest. So that was all good. I made it all the way through, and we booked my appointment. Keep in mind, I don't know if this is the way the interview process works everywhere, because this was also only in Toronto. They did have interviews set up in Montreal, I think Calgary, and Vancouver. So this might have just been for Toronto, I'm not sure. And that all went well. That happened on November 3rd, and I did my medical on November 7th, I believe. And then I waited. Just like with Westshot Encore. I waited just over a month to hear back, and the training date was set for January 7th. I knew that because they told me, and they called me, I believe, on December 12th, saying that I was accepted. When they called me, telling me that I got the job, they said, your job offer is for Toronto-based and Toronto training. Would you like to accept it? And I was like, oh, I always thought they didn't tell you until the end of training, or midway through training, what your base is going to be. So this was a pleasant surprise. I was like, perfect, I don't have to do anything different. I already have a place in Toronto. Great. So I accepted it, canceled my my schooling for January, massage therapy, which I'm pretty thankful for. I don't think I would have been all that happy just doing massage therapy. Mind you, I did have a plan as to where I wanted to go and, not end with just massage therapy, but this has enabled me to keep working, pay down some financing, just all that financial stuff. Like, I'm in debt for my first degree, so it wasn't the smartest idea just to go back to school quite yet. And I've accomplished a lot over the past year that I've been working for Air Canada. So that was that. That was the time frame. So it happened from, I applied mid-October, and I heard back December 12th, I believe. So, just under 2 months it took for me to get my job offer. So not too bad. A lot of people wait for a lot longer. I have worked with people who mentioned that they had their interview back in like March, and then they only got contacted in October for the face-to-face, and I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of waiting that I would not want to do. There was just a little insight for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, And in my next video, I'm planning to do a Q&A. So if you do have any questions, then just comment them down below and I'll put them in my Q&A video. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more and give this video a like. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!